recording. Thank you, Wanda, so much for taking the time to talk to me. You look great. I like your hair. So I reached out to you
Thank
because
you.
you are from my hometown, Tarboro, and a lot of people probably like, where is Tarboro? But that's okay. We know where it is in North Carolina. And you were one of the people when I was in cosmetology school, you were already out there and you had already started, well known. And I remember that. And so it's been like, I came out of school in 91. I'm not sure which year you came out, but I came out in 91. Like I said, you were already doing it. You were already out there, well known. And it's been a long time, right, that we've been in, but you're still thriving. And so over the period of time when I came out of school, you've been still working. I went back and got my instructor's license. You were still relevant. A lady actually that was in my program in Greenville, she was being trained under you, and she would always tell me, how, she was going into your salon. I know that you probably have worked as a platform artist. You've done quite a few things. And so I wanted to definitely get you back on. It's continuous education for you. That's what I'm providing courses and trying to just let people know what's going on based on those that are licensed, those that have been out there for a while, those that have seen things change. And I just wanted to get an interview with you. And so I sent you a few questions, but I'm gonna let you start your intro. And I kind of want to know, who is Wanda Petteway, if that's still the name, and give us a little background because I know you're still working and you still have your own location.
Yes, actually, I am Wanda Petteway, and I've been a licensed cosmetologist for 36 years. I've had my license since 1989,
Okay.
and I have worked for product companies. I have worked for hair industry companies as platform artist and educator for these companies. And I've never been a licensed instructor, but I have been trained and educated by different companies to promote their product, explain their product, give product knowledge on their product, and educate people on those products. And during that time, in doing all of those things for these different companies, I pick up my own education. I learn more so that I can do more.
Right, right. And that is what I recall. What's the name of your salon now?
The name of my salon is the Hair Gallery. Actually, it is the Hair and Massage Gallery. I'm
Okay.
also a licensed massage therapist now.
I don't think I knew that.
Yes, I had got my massage therapy license 2 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
I've
even know that.
always
And you offer that at your location where you're at now.
yes, I do. I've always been the type of person that wanted to help, and by some of my clients being in my chair for over 10 and 15 years, they experience different things with hair, body, and in this industry we're going over, it's not just hair, it's body, spa, all these things are added to our industry. So
Yeah.
that was one more thing that we decided to pick up.
What I'm glad I know that. I'll definitely be referring some people over because I did not know it, Wanda. So that's a good thing to know. So
Yes.
yeah, so you've told us who you are, where you at, and some of the services that you've offered. You also told us how long you've been in the industry. So can you kind of give us an idea of what has helped you to last? You said 36 years.
36 years.
You don't even look old enough to have been in the industry 36 years.
I'm
I mean, your
actually,
skin looks good.
thank you so much. I'm actually 57 years old, and I'm proud to say that.
I see why you're proud to say it. You look great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But
Yeah.
what kept me in the industry this long is education. And I'm not just talking about going somewhere and get a certain type of training. I'm talking about fundamental education, which means instead of just putting some color on somebody's hair, know what the color does, know what the colors consist of, and know how it's going to perform on different textures, types. and colors of hair. Don't get one part of the spectrum. You have to educate yourself on the whole spectrum of things that we do in the salon.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were one of the people, Wanda, when I knew you, you were wearing blonde before blonde, I think, was even being worn, as much as it is now. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
talking about
my
like
favorite.
blonde. Yeah.
Yeah, it was platinum. It was platinum blonde that I used to wear. But as I began to age, it started to reveal more of the fine lines in my face, the moles. So I kind of had to put it aside. But
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
blonde, it was always well, what really started that fad with me was I was intrigued because I would always see Caucasian people wearing blonde hair, but not Black people. That
Uh-huh.
kind of intrigued me. So I actually started trying to do it in cosmetology school with my instructor, Miss Godwin. I'll never forget her. And she would show me the things to do and she would tell us the education of it. But I told her I wanted to be lighter. I wanted to be lighter. But back then, my mindset was that Caucasian people and Black people had different hair. But that is not true.
Right.
Hair is hair. Hair is
Right.
hair. And I
Yeah.
had to learn that in trying to become platinum blonde.
Yeah.
I had to go through all of those stages and figure out why does Black people hair get so dry when you're using blonde, and when Caucasians wear it, it doesn't do that. But most of their texture of hair has its own moisturizing system to it. It
Yeah.
has its own. They remove oil when we add oil. So
Yeah.
I had to learn about the types and the textures of hair,
Yeah.
and not see hair as a black or white thing.
Yeah.
And working for one of those companies that I worked for, I had to learn that because we were traveling all over the country. So we weren't just doing black and white hair. We were doing hair. She might have sat in my chair and looked black, but when she started to talk, there was another language. And
Yeah.
her hair texture was shiny and silky and curly. So I had to learn in order to keep up with whatever was moving up, all of the advances. I had to learn that.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I didn't know that background. So thank you for sharing that. I think that's good information
Yeah,
right there.
educating yourself in any aspect of your field is what's going to keep you. Because
Okay.
as the trends and the styles change, you'll
Mm-hmm.
be able to change with them. There's
Yeah.
so many things that they're doing now that we already did, and I'm grateful and thankful that I can see it come back. I'm
Yeah.
still here to see
Yeah.
it all come back. And they'll come in and they'll ask for you these soft waves. Oh yeah, we used to do this back in the day.
With all them finger waves, right?
Yes, yes. But now they have elevated to soft waves.
Yeah. Yeah. And they look nice. They really look nice with the curls.
Yeah, soft
So,
waves, and they're adding shortcuts with it to make it a pix. All
mm-hmm.
of that is coming back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you spoke of change, that's one of the things. But what is one of the biggest changes that you have seen that may not necessarily be something like that with technique and styling? Because you're right, we see that those things come back around. I don't think those things are new, but based on generational changes, maybe sometimes, or I think what I'm trying to ask you is the generation change with the industry, like 36 years for you, me as a instructor being over a few programs, I could see the difference based on the generations. The people
Right.
have changed, not necessarily the industry, but as a result of changes with generations.
Right.
How have you seen the industry affected by that?
Well, a lot of things I'm prepared for because I'm a Christian and I read the Bible and I believe and I understand how times and people change. But the biggest thing that has affected mindset in the industry to me is social media. It changed the way people think about jobs, and not just our job, all of them.
Okay.
I mean, you don't even find people meeting people on a personal level anymore.
Ah,
It's a Zoom meeting, it's a Zoom interview. So we're definitely losing in that personal contact, and which our industry was built on that.
Yeah.
I was it was built on serving the public, serving people, but
Yes.
we're losing it because of social media. Now, some of the stylists don't even know how to show common courtesy and understand that it's a client stylist relationship and you're supposed to cater to them. The goal is to cater to them to make them feel so special and so good that nobody else can do it but you. That's
Yeah.
the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal, to seal the deal between the client and the stylist, that she is returning in your door
Yes.
all the time. She or he, they're
Yeah.
returning all the time to keep that constant relationship. But now, because of social media, internet, and YouTube, we're not getting that personal service relationship.
Yeah. So the personal touch is left. And right. That's kind of what we do. We provide services that have more of a personal touch to it. Yeah. So
Right.
that has been a change. I
Yeah.
agree. That's a good point
So
too.
the goal is to educate, be good at what you do, but make them feel better. Remember, you're giving them a service. You're not a servant, but you are giving them a service.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I think that answers quite a few questions there. Are there any other hindrances, or I hate to say negative, but basically negative? I know social media can be used for good, but because of the personal
Exactly.
touch being missed, that's an issue.
Exactly.
But do you see any other things that have been negative that may have affected it? And I'm gonna call them challenges. They're negative challenges, but for a stylist that's trying to be out there, that's coming out or came a couple of years ago, Wanda, how are they going to make it 36 years like you've made it?
Well, what they're going to have to do, they're going to have to educate themselves, number one, be smart, and try to join social media with their education to prove their self, to prove that, let people know that I can do this service for you. I can give, and that's going to be the challenge, to join the two together, because clicks and views are not everything. You know what I'm saying? But once you, clicks and views can damage you if you give somebody a bad service, because that's the
Yeah,
first place they're going to go to.
yeah.
So they're going to have to master joining those two together.
With that personal service that you were talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I
yeah, I
started
got
there,
you.
but most of my clients, they can't book online services with me for hair because of the fact I have a range of clientele. Now, for massage, I definitely take advantage of the online booking because everybody don't know I massage. So that's an advantage.
Right. Got it, got it, got it. Okay. So then this question comes to mind. Um, YouTube, and not that I have an issue with YouTube, just like other social media platforms, I think that it can be a benefit. But with I think natural hair and people doing their own hair, and then they are on these platforms showing you how they've done their hair, or um just all of that, I guess you would say. These people may not be licensed. And then the
Right,
whole natural hair movement. What are your thoughts on that? Because I'm seeing this, and then we have more products than ever. And we have
right,
this natural hair, and a lot of people are not even wearing their own hair texture like you were talking about before.
right,
What are
right.
you seeing with those things? Because listen, we like hair to change our hair, but it's different than ever when you're wearing full wig and things of that nature. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, YouTube can be good and it can be bad. It does give a lot of information and techniques on how to do certain things that we do in the salon. And the only thing is the education of it all. You may see a technique done on YouTube. You don't know the hair texture, the hair type. You don't know the response that it's going to give after. You don't know the later on effect of it. So, there's a lot of things that YouTube don't show. But the technique, some of them they have down pat.
Yeah,
some
yeah,
some couple of them that I saw that I needed to upgrade myself, and I've used.
yeah,
But as far as it's not a full circle thing,
yeah.
and if you want to know the real deal of how to do something, you want the whole, you want the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Okay,
You just don't want parts of it.
okay. All right. And then I think last but not least, because I gave you some questions, but as we're talking, like is the information you're getting given is so good. I'm in a salon space now, and it has in a suite, and it has different ages that are there. I'm starting to hear this stuff, Wanda. I didn't know if you've heard this. People are saying, "Oh, you provide shampoos." Now, for me, that's foreign because shampoos is the
Right.
base of any service. So I'm like,
Right.
do you provide shampoo?
Yes, I do. We provide a complete service in my salon. And I'm going to tell you what I feel and my solution to what brought that on.
Okay,
Okay, years and years, maybe 20, 25 years ago, we had the licensed cosmetologists, and we also had Africans doing braids.
okay,
And Africans would set up shops in spaces just like a salon.
okay,
And they did braid services, but they didn't do any shampooing, any of those things. They just did braids, different
okay.
types of braids, different styles of braid. So eventually, because I sit down and I'll talk to the inspectors when they come in. When they come
Okay.
in, I sit down and have a conversation and ask them about certain things.
Yeah.
And what happened was the African would have these African braiding shops, and State Board wanted to get a lockdown on it. They wanted to get a lockdown on these African braiding shops. So eventually they went back in and they revised the rules and that's when natural hair started, because they allowed them to get licensed, they allowed them to have a salon, it allowed them to do things as long as they weren't using chemical products, curling irons, or anything that a licensed stylist used.
Okay.
But what they didn't know, the consumer was smart.
Yeah.
So the consumer figured out that sewing and stitching weaves and wig was not chemicals. And they would tell them they had to get a natural hair license in order to do that, but they was more so concerned about the braids. They weren't concerned about the lace fronts, the weaves, all of these things that they're doing outside of the salon, because now
Yeah.
they're setting up shops for just these services.
Yes.
So the government trying to contain one thing, open a door to another thing. So that's my belief on how a lot of it got started.
Yeah, that make a lot of sense because the young lady, that mentioned it was just, it didn't make sense to me because the whole reason that we are licensed is for infection control, right? To prevent the
Right.
spread of
Exactly.
disease, bacteria, and all of that. The styling is
Exactly.
not the part, but then when you start to say to me, people are asking, do you provide a shampoo service? I'm like, but that's the base of a service. But the way that
Right.
you've explained it makes total sense. I mean,
Yes.
that just makes sense. So
Yeah.
there was kind of like a loophole there, and it seems like now the inspectors are not able to really lock this thing down, like you're saying.
Exactly. It has, when they started, now they did initiate natural hair license, but like I said, it gave fuel to the fire, because once they initiated these licenses, then they got more creative to want to do sew in weaves. That's not a chemical service. That's not anything that they do in the salon that causes a problem. Then they started doing crochet, braids, more, and of course, we're very creative.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they started adding other things in. So that's why you have these shops and places that are setting up and doing business as a lace front shop, doing business as a crochet shop, braid shop, because they have license to do it now.
Okay. So some of them have the license, like you're saying, and they're doing it, they're not providing the services. So for those of us that are providing full services, yeah, that's the
Most of
difference
the
there.
ones, most people that have their natural hair care license go on to open their own space.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
because the state board will allow them to do that.
Okay. So
Okay.
this is the piece. Yeah. So with no hair shame and CE for you, meaning providing this continuing education. One of the reasons I wanted to find out is I want to find out from those that are licensed. I want to find out from those that have been in the industry. And this is this part of it, you being a pro, that's what's considered to be a pro on the website, like a professional like yourself. Then we have those that are which is the public. So to the public, I guess you would suggest that those that are coming in, the consumer, to get these services, they may want to know, are these people licensed? What spaces they're going into? And are
Right,
these people practicing infection control procedures to make sure that
right,
they are operating as professionals?
right. And
Yeah.
the consumer really don't know exactly what they're looking for if they're going into a new place for a service until that person set the standard.
Okay. So I
That
want us to kind of set the standard as
Yeah,
professionals, what should
yeah,
be happening.
yeah. They don't know it's wrong or right until the professional or the stylist or the lace front operator, the loctician, until they set the standard for them. You
Okay.
understand?
Yes,
So
I
they
understand.
won't know that they're wrong. And I have them come in my salon all the time, and they ask for, well, can I get this? Can I get that? So I really go deep. I said, well, what is that? And
Okay.
they really can't explain it to me, but I know where they're going with it. And then they'll, pick a picture from a book. Can I have this color ginger? Ginger is not on natural hair color chart,
Right, right, right.
but
So you
that's what
educate them.
that's what they think it is ginger. So I have to use images to match their images so that we all can be on one accord. So
Okay.
so you have to set the standard in your
Okay.
space, in your salon, in your shop, in your loctician place, in your lace front. You have to set the standard.
Okay. Last but not least, I know I've said this, but because you come across so many people, trichology is an area that I'm certified in, and I know you've been in it long enough that you can see it. There are people out there that I've ran into people that are trichologists and they understand it, but they have not put their hands into a person's hair or on their head over the period of time
Right,
or been able to feel that hair like you have. Now, I might be
right,
certified in it, but I know you know what you're looking for, right? And
right,
so when we're talking about infection control, we're talking about the industry, all of these things that we're talking about, we're starting to see more people that have lost hair more than ever. Their hair is
exactly.
changing. We have the thing with the artificial hair, with the braids, with the quick weaves, with the wigs, the lace fronts,
Right.
and all that. What would you say about that? And then we're going to sum it up from there. And the reason I do that is because the amount of time that you've been doing hair, myself, those experiences that we have,
Right.
although they're calling people, although I have the certification and the license, if my hands are not in the hair or on that person's scalp, or I haven't seen enough people enough, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
Right.
experience. That's nothing unless you have the backing and the time frame that you've had in it to actually touch, feel, and see these things changing.
Exactly. Well, this is the thing I have seen from after the 90s into the 2000s. It's a lot of wave of women losing their hair. And a lot of them, they want to attribute it to stress. They want to attribute it to, most of the time it's DNA. You have to look back in your family tree and see what your parents had, if they had thinning hair. And when that happens to one of my clients, that is the first thing that we do. We trace it back. And I have one, and we did trace it back, but I remembered her telling her, because I had been in business and she's been a client for so long. I said, I think you're going to have thin hair and you need to start checking your background, your family tree. And eventually that did happen. And I'm not going to say that is what we do to the hair, but it's a
Right, right.
factor.
Yeah.
It is a factor and the things they eat, because whatever
Yes.
goes in the body is coming out in the hair and the skin.
Yes.
So it's a lot of attributes to that question. I
Yes.
can't, but if you were my client, we will try to find the source. And what I found myself doing now is making my own conditioners and shampoos from herbal and natural ingredients, because there's so many things in the atmosphere, there's so many things in the water, there's so many things in the food, and I'm trying to see if I can reduce some of the things that I think that is happening to the hair, scalp, and the skin.
Right. So that's good to know, because that is the first place it starts. And so I want
Yeah,
to, yeah, definitely what you're doing, I think it's great. And you're right. And it's so many different factors. So I
yeah,
know that you can probably touch the hair, see the hair, and you can see the changes over a period of time because that
yeah.
experience that you have.
Yeah, from experience, it has taught me I can recognize somebody that is diabetic very quickly,
Oh gosh,
and
yes.
I can recognize somebody that uses very high doses of high blood pressure medication very
Uh-huh.
quickly. That
Yes.
that, that is not anything that you can learn from a book.
You
It's
can't
a
learn that
feel,
from the book.
yeah, it's a feel, a touch, and a response from the hair in working with it that you receive. And it comes to the thing, a lot of us learn things and just learn it and start to do things as technique.
Yeah.
But when you learn things, you have to store it in your memory bank so that you can add on to when something else comes.
Great.
You have to store and build upon it.
Yeah.
So when the new things come, you have to add a little bit of the old with the new to get, what we call higher height and deeper depths.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Great
Yeah.
information. Thank you so much, Wanda. I listen. Thank you for taking time out on Mondays. I did not know that you were a massage therapist there in the area. I have family there and I'm back there and I'm going to make sure I let people know. This will be shared. Thank you so much for your time. In the future, I'm probably going to reach back out to you because you have a wealth of knowledge and nothing
Okay.
we can do with, listen, no, it's not a lot that people can do with 36 years, you know. You can't learn it in this short period of time, but it's great that you did it. So I'm gonna have you come back up at a later time when when it's good for you.
Well, I definitely appreciate the opportunity. I hope everybody can understand me because I'm very Southern. But
You
I
sound
don't mind
fine.
sharing any information with anybody that's on their way up.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, you can't. The best way to use knowledge is to share it.
yeah,
That's the best way.
yeah, yeah,
Because if I share something with somebody and I'm getting to the place that I'm slowing down, they may look back and pull me along with them. So,
yeah.
that's just how I'm built. I've always been like that.
Well, thank you. You look great. You don't look like you've been at it for 36 years. Your hair looks wonderful. And I've been to your space and I'm gonna make sure I let people know that you are out there, that you're in the area, right?
But I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, Wanda, thank you. Listen, I'll follow back up with you. I appreciate your time, okay?
Okay.
All right, you have a good day.
You have a wonderful day too.
Okay. So I would like to thank Wanda Petteway of Hair Gallery, Tarboro, North Carolina. She offers hair and massage services. You can reach her at 252-641-4144. Let's support Wanda and her business.